Yo, what's up everybody? It's Drewberry, and today we're having a look at the brand new Season Pass card for October in Marvel Snap, and that is Elsa Bloodstone. I was fortunate enough to be able to play with this card in advance to check out all her crazy mechanics, how she works, wild combos that you're going to see, and the amount of potential and power that this card can pop off to is just wild, especially when you have cloning bats like in the highlight here. Now I'm just going to show you some highlights of just some power potential with Elsa, some crazy combos. But later on, I'm going to show you two deck lists that are brewed up in a game of each to give you an idea of how it feels when you're playing a game with this card. And let me tell you, she is super consistent. The power is always there. You just activate this once, you get 3 power, it goes to 5. Her value returns itself. But here, when you have 4 Elsa Bloodstones, you can get your Jeff to 24 power, put him back in the hand, move him because he was the last card played to get all those buffs and he still has his movement effect, and then play another Jeff on top of a bunch of Kitty Prydes who are also going to get buffed. So let's bring our 24 power Jeff and let's make him, I don't know, I'm thinking like somewhere in the realm of 36. That seems pretty good. That's a pretty big Jeff. I like those kind of Jeffs. And then we can just take his power, move it elsewhere, and it's amazing value. That's why Kitty Pryde's a great combo tool, but so is Jeff. These movement cards that can go in that 4th spot, reap the rewards of Elsa's effect, and then move elsewhere so we can just keep cycling, keep that value engine going. Now, check this one out, okay? So we got Mysterio in the opening hand with Elsa, Bishop, Sarah, a lot of key pieces to this deck, this bounce deck. But Lamentus one happens. And normally with this type of deck, you want a lot of cards because you want to play a whole bunch of stuff on turn 6 and get a big burst. But have no fear. We're going to figure out a way. And maybe it's because that brew jumped into our hand. That's definitely going to help. And you're going to see a really interesting interaction here in a moment. But we're going to use Bass to make the Mysterio 3 power and all the clones 3 power. But here I'm going to play Brood with Nightcrawler. I thought when I did this that Nightcrawler would register as the last card played to fill that location because he reveals last. But as you can see, the Broodlings fill it up. Nightcrawler does not get the buff from Elsa. I was a bit surprised by that interaction, but hey, something to keep note of. It has to be in the 4th quadrant of a location. It has to be the final card that fills it up, not because of the Broodlings. So here we have that final turn. Oh my gosh, I just love this so much. So we set it up so that each location had 1 spot empty, and we have Mysterio. So we fill them all up with these 3 power Mysterios from the Bast effect. We're going to buff up our Bishop with all that good juicy power, and Elsa is going to activate on every single one of the Mysterios. The real body, the clones, it doesn't matter. We're given buffs everywhere. We absolutely overwhelmed our opponent. They didn't even know what they're doing. Easy win. I love that combination. And the Mysterio, the Brood's actually not so bad. It's something to look out for because you don't want to fill the location with Brood, but it's a nice way to get quickly filled up at a location so that 4th spot is open. Now here's a crazy one. So we're going to use Vision in the location with Shuri and Elsa, Shuri being the last card that we played. Now, I was hoping that Bloodstone would activate first, giving Vision 3 power, and then Shuri would double it. But as you can see, Shuri doubled it first, Elsa applied the power afterwards. It ended up being 19 power, when really we could have got to like 21 or 22, or I don't even know what the math was, but it could have been more power, right? I think 22. Anyways, doesn't quite work. Not the best combo, but I'm sure it's still good enough to worth running because 3 power is just always good. Now check this one out. Now we're going all in. What is the total power of this Hit Monkey? Look at this board state, pause this video if you need to, but what is going to be the total power of this Hit Monkey? That's what I want you to figure out, okay? A little snap science question here. Here we're just splashing a bunch of power. We got the power of cloning bats once more. We double up on Hit Monkey, all those cards played, and if you didn't add this to your calculations, it was played at the throne room, which brings this little monkey to 40 power. Incredible. I thought that was so awesome. Colleen Wing becoming 16, jumping back to the hand. It's wild what you can do with Elsa Bloodstone. She does not have a lot of the counters either, so she's just a great card. Now let's check out some deck lists. All right, so this is the deck list that I'm calling Bounce Stone. It's basically your typical bounce list, but we've taken out Falcon and we're trying to focus more on bouncing with Kitty Pryde. We got her in the opening hand, which is pretty nice. But also, we have Beast, and that's a really good target as well. That is why I'm running Mobius in this list. Now, I will show you guys a replacement for Mobius if you do not have that card, but it's really helpful because the biggest weakness to this deck is a turn 5 wave. because that really makes it so that we can't play a whole lot of cards, and that's what the deck wants to do. We have Sarah, we have Beast, we're getting discounts a bunch. Mobius is going to neutralize the board, but at least it doesn't hamper us like a wave play on turn 5, where we can only play one card on turn 6. That'd be the worst case scenario. These Raptors actually helping our cause. I like just setting up Elsa now, and then we could look next turn to do like a Hawkeye at the Elsa Bloodstone location, Mobius just to get that location prepped on the left. We could even maybe think about starting to stack. See, this is, keep in mind, not the highest caliber of opponents. We are on a preview game state here, okay, ladies and gentlemen? So here we have Elsa out, it's set up. We can't even play at the miniature lab, doesn't even matter. Didn't even want to, it's fine. Now, I could opt to go for the Mobius Kitty Pryde over the Hawkeye. Kind of tempted to do so. I'm probably going to play Hawkeye next turn anyhow. So we could just straight up get 3 power out of Kitty Pryde, bounce her back to the hand. Seems pretty good. Okay, that Venom play, not too shabby for my opponent. They probably got like Death or something like that. Typical destroy list, which is actually crazy for value of the hand, but he just destroyed a bunch of Raptors. So that's not so good, but we're scaling like crazy. We got Sarah for turn 5. That is fantastic. That's going to set up the miniature lab. Oh my gosh, we actually have an incredible hand, everybody. We're gonna omit the Hawkeye play. I know it's a bit weird because it would be nice to get the +3, but I really like playing Hawkeye now, or sorry, Bishop now. I think it's not too shabby though. Next turn we play Sarah into the location, it kind of fills it up, and then we go nuts with Bishop on the final turn. Maybe we just do that. Maybe we just straight up do this. Let's try it. Why not? I like it. Both routes were pretty safe, I think. Going either the Bishop route to just start scaling him like crazy, but he's going to get a lot of power. We're going to play Mysterio plus whatever I draw now and whatever I draw on turn 6 for a lot of power. My opponent's going to with a Typhoid Mary. Interesting. Nightcrawler, that's actually pretty juicy. So what we want to do is we want Sarah on the Hawkeye, get the buff. Now, we're not scaling a whole lot on the Bloodstone effect just yet, but that's what I really like about this card. It has the potential to just get out of hand on turn 6. Bait your opponent in. Look at them. Like they might not see this coming. And actually, here we go. There's those Raptors I was talking about. Value of the hand's going to bring them back. Fortunately for us, we have not destroyed anything, so we're not going to have to worry about that. Angela is a crazy pickup. Opponent's going to snap. I would snap back, but we don't even care about cubes right now. We are just going to town on our opponent. Now, do I want to use Bishop in any sense? We definitely want Mysterio, Kitty Pryde, all that sort of stuff to fill these locations. I think it's worth doing that, and then I'm left with 3 energy, which is going to end up being this, and then this. We get the 4 here, which is going to win this location, which is actually going to go to 7. This Mysterio would actually get power, but I don't see us necessarily winning that location unless I put Kitty Pryde there to go to 12 on the left, which would bring us to 17, a point ahead of my opponent. But I'm not too convinced that my opponent is smart enough to not play cards on the left. I feel like they're going to do that. So I'm just going to let this play out. This is a crazy amount of power. We're going to get 7 with the Mysterio in the middle. Nightcrawler is going to go to 5. The clone on the left is going to go to 3. The clone on the mid, or it's not even a clone, sorry. Oh, magic. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. My opponent's playing cards on the left. Didn't need to do so. Probably lost the game because of that. But the value of the hand really won the game. But watch the power and the output that we're just going to put out here. 5 on the Nightcrawler. Angela going up to 6. Bishop scaling like crazy. All that residual power from Elsa just giving those clones because they were the final card played. And there you go, 7 on that middle Mysterio, 17, 25. It's crazy. There's so much potential with this deck list. It's very consistent as well. Now, if you wanted to not use Mobius, you could take out Mobius, because you can see right above me. There we go. So you can take out Mobius and you could put in something like Falcon, or another card could be like America Chavez to give it a little bit more consistency so that you get those cards earlier. I don't necessarily love running America Chavez because I like the more opportunities to get those cheap cards that I can. Because even if we set up Sarah and we can play America Chavez, we might be able to play one other thing. That's it. I just love setting up for maybe a big hit monkey turn or something like you just saw here. Falcon's pretty good as well, just in the beast archetype. Like it's going to help the bounce archetype, that is, like to bounce back your Hawkeye, or even those Raptors, get them out of the way, or anything, just so that we can play it again and get our Bishop Bishop buffed, our Angela buffed, and just go from there and maybe stack more on Elsa Bloodstone. So that is a possible switcheroo. And let's get to the next deck list. All right, so this deck list I'm calling Tempo Move, giving it a little bit more of a formal name. That's because it's a pretty meta staple deck right now. It's been performing very well, where you're kind of using a lot of the spider characters to bounce around the board, buff up your Craven, and just out-tempo your opponent with the amount of power that they are giving us. It works especially well with Elsa Bloodstone because we're going to set up a situation where we can play these movement cards like I have in my hand here. Jeff, for instance, we can play him in the 4th quadrant of a location. He's going to get the +3 power from Elsa, and then we can move him off. So good. It's become one of my favorite combos. And then we have Eliath as a finisher. Now, if you don't have Eliath, I'll have a substitution after this match here. But here we go. We're going to set up with Elsa. Don't even care about Lemuria. That's fine. Asgard would be nice to get some benefit. And I'm kind of thinking about just putting Jeff here for now. Oh, that's actually really good with Spider-Man as well. That's not too shabby. Now we can't move. I could have played Jeff off the location, move him into the location, discount the Morales so that turn 5 it'd be cheap, but we might have to just straight up play Spider-Man at Asgard, or actually possibly just play straight up Miles Morales to get us closer. Yeah, I'm thinking that's the play, in fact. Now, we are kind of forsaking the right location, but I will have vision next turn, 11 power vision, so maybe not quite forsaking it. Maybe put ourselves in a really good spot. And I'm more than likely going to draw 2 cards here. I don't imagine they're going to play something that can beat 10 power. We're going to try 6 power, it's close enough, but there you go. Hellcow discarding a few things. But we're going to be in a really good spot with 3 more cards added to our hand. That gives us a full hand. We got Nightcrawler, Silk. That's great. There's that final card, Kitty Pryde. Okay, great. So do I want to go with Vision? It's not necessary. We could almost have a similar effect by just playing Nightcrawler here and begin stacking a different location. Now, Silk would bounce to the right if my opponent were to play a card, and I'm actually perfectly fine with that. So I think this is actually what's going to set us up for the most potential points on the board, and maybe even a setup for my Vision and Eliath. The alternative, which I think I would go with, and we are going to go with it, we're going to undo our actions. You know, sometimes you got to just see what it looks like, undo and go forward. I'm going to go with Vision here to get the Elsa Bloodstone buff. Then I'm going to move Vision off here, and we're going to play Eliath as our finisher at Asgard. I should probably checkmate at my opponent. They've only played a Swarm. They don't know what they're doing. Vision's going over to the far right. That should be more than enough to win the far right. And then we're just going to checkmate because we know that if they play anything, unless it doesn't really matter. If it's Dracula or anything like that, it's going to get destroyed. This is this card list, right? They do have priority. So there could be an on reveal, but we're not worried about it. All that power, it's going away. And they don't even bother to play in the mid. It's going to go to the left. So I really like Eliath with Elsa Bloodstone too, because sometimes what happens is you just don't have quite enough power with the Eliath swing to win out that location, especially when your opponent has the opportunity to get those on reveals off. But instead, we get up to 8 power, and I'm feeling pretty safe about a 6-8 that destroys anything at that location. So there you go. That is the Tempo Move deck, and as you can see, we could have went the route of playing a lot of cards, or we went a little bit slower to kind of checkmate our opponent, and I think that flexibility in this deck list makes it a really strong option for ladder. So if you don't have Eliath, you could substitute it for Dr. Doom. It's a commonly played card in this deck list as a very similar idea, that finisher at the end that doesn't necessarily play into playing a lot of cards, but just gets a lot of power on the board and sets up a pseudo checkmate scenario on our opponent. So you can do a bunch of moving with high power cards, your Spider-Man, your Silk, all that good stuff. And then at the end, bam, Dr. Doom leveling out the field, giving a lot of power across the board. So those are my 2 deck lists for Elsa Bloodstone. That's going to be the preview. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was super fun to do. Thank you so much, Team Second Dinner and Marvel, for allowing me to preview this incredible card. I think it is super worth it, guys. The season pass, it always gives a lot of return value, but this time you're getting a really fun card. I genuinely enjoy this type of card that motivates you to play a lot of things, play out the board, not just one card at a time, which can kind of get a bit slow. Instead, Elsa wants you to just spam put those cards out, get aggressive. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching Snap. Subscribe to the official Marvel Snap channel and go check out mine over at Drewberry Snap. And thank you, and I'll catch you guys next time.